Hey gang, Taking Care of Business, Bachman Turner Overdrive, by request, BTO, Randy and Tim Bachman, Ike and Tina Turner, and of course Harold Q Overdrive. Oh, seriously, this is a great song to learn for a few reasons. Number one, it's a basic rock boogie. It's either going to be dead easy for you to learn, you learn it in 5 minutes, or it's something that you need to know anyway. Number two, you know it's going to come up on jam night, so another song that's good to know. It's easy to solo over it by using classic lines, so we'll cover that. Number three, it was made when rock was fun and it wasn't meant to be perfect. This is sloppy, super slop. Get your slop on to play this one, you know. It was made when the Dead and the Stones and the band were the groups that were putting out music. So, you know, this is what that's all about. Nobody ever said to Keith Richards, hey man, tighten up the screws. And there's a good reason for that. All right. Number four, I guess, finally, is anybody who rhymes musician with fission is all right in my book. Okay, so we are going to go through that opening riff and the little, that part. And then we'll do that solo that I did right there. Now there's about 3 or 4 solos in there. This is the second solo. We'll learn this one more or less note for note. I mean, it's hard to tell for sure. Again, it's meant to be played sort of sloppy and just improvised. But we'll go over this one note for note, and then I'll show you some improvisation tips to be able to play it on your own or play your own stuff. All right, here it goes. All right, gang, you know the drill. You can download the tab from the link in the description below. It might make your life a little bit easier this time, but you know, stuff isn't really meant to be played with tab. If you want it though, there it is. Be my guest if it'll help you out. Okay, second thing is the sound. You just want that classic rock sound, so a moderate amount of distortion. All right, so just a moderate amount of distortion on this. You don't know melting people's faces off. I'm using the bridge, there it is right there, the bridge pickup on this T-style guitar, but you can choose what you want. Just give it a moderate amount of overdrive. Okay, now the chords. Basically, let's cover this, let's cover the opening riff, shall we? So it starts out like this. And that's basically the song. So we're going to start that out. It starts with it's C to B flat. That's a C. Then to a B flat. To an F. Back to a C. All right, so what are we playing there? Well, we're starting out by playing the C, and we're playing 8 and 8. On the 6th and 5th strings. So we're starting out playing on the 6th and 5th strings only. You want to deaden out the rest of that, either by muting with your right hand or muting with your left hand, or simply being very accurate with your pick. Seeing that this is sloppiness, I would rely on one of the other methods. Okay, so we're going to start out playing 8-8 on the 6th and 5th. And then on the 5th, you're going to play up to the 10th. 10th fret, that is, okay? Okay, and then we're going to go to the 12th, and then twice on the 10th. All right, so here it is very slowly. Okay, now we're simply going to shift that down 2 frets to that B flat. We're going to play 6-6, 6-8, and 6-10. And then 6-8 twice. Okay, here it is a little bit faster. Now we're going to shift up to here on the 8th fret again, but now we're going to play the 4th and the 5th strings, okay? So we're going to start out with 8 and 8, 8 and 10, 8 and 12, 8 and 10 twice. Okay, here it is a little bit faster. And then back to our original one with a C. Okay, very super cool. Just a tiny little modification on the old. He's playing this first thing first. And it makes all the difference. I love how one simple change Makes a whole difference. Okay, here's the second guitar part. Okay, so the way that this starts out is we're going to slide up to a C7th here. We're playing triads on, we're playing a C7 triad on the first 3 strings, okay? So it's going like this, and I'm sliding it up and playing da-da-da-da-da. Okay, so let me outline that triad for you. You've got on the 3rd, 2nd, and 1st strings respectively, you've got 12, 11, and 12. Okay, that's over that C chord. And then when the other person's playing, you're going to play. So it's basically like a little B-flat blues riff. You're going to play this, okay? We'll start out with playing 8 and 8 on the 2nd and 3rd strings. Then we're going to play on the 3rd string that 6th, and we're going to bend it up a quarter to a half step. And then play 8, 6, 8 on the 4th. Okay, here it is sped up. Now, if you accidentally on this one hit the 3rd and the 2nd, it doesn't matter. It sounds cool. If you hit both, it sounds really cool. Okay, so either one, if you want to play it singly or not. Also, if you want to hammer on to the 7th from the 6th, that sounds cool too. That's all good. All right, so it starts out again on the C7th, and then we're playing that little B-flat blues lick. Okay, now we're going to play this here, which is an F7. F7 triad, and on the 3, 2, and 1 strings, it is 5, 4, and 5, respectively. Okay, now we're going to play a C blues riff. It's really the same as that B-flat blues riff, but we're just shifting it up 2 frets. So we're playing on the 2nd and 3rd strings, we're playing 10, 10. Then on the 3rd string, we're playing the 8th and bending it up a little bit. And then we're playing 10, 8, 10 on the 4th. All right, and that's the whole thing. Let me play the whole thing slowly. All right, and that's that. Let's cover the solo now that I played. And this is corresponding to the 2nd solo that he plays. And actually at the end of it, there's a little break where some of the instruments, everything but the drums, drop out. And I didn't capture that because I'm playing with a little backing a looper. So anyway, so here's the solo. All right, let's go through this line by line now. Here's the first line. All right, so right out of the Chuck Berry playbook here, we're going to slide up to the C7th triad that we used in the beginning. But instead of playing the top 3 strings, we're just going to play the 2nd and 3rd strings. Now you could play the top one. Sounds good. So, but we're not playing it here. We're only playing double stops on the 2nd and 3rd. So we'll play up here. 12th and 11th, we're going to slide up. Then play on the 4th string, the 10th fret. Okay, now we're going to play a series of double stops. And here we're playing 8-8 on the 1 and 2. And then 8-8 on the 2 and 3 strings. Okay? And coming down to the 10th on the 4th string. Okay? And now three strokes on the 8 and 8. on the first two strings, and then we'll play 10-10 on the second and third, and 8-8 on the second and third, and that's the end of the line. Here it is very slowly. You can bend up a quarter step, just like we were doing on some of those other riffs on any of these double stops. It sounds particularly good on the second and third strings. Here's the second line. Here, we're actually coming out of the blues scale, and we're playing kind of along the lines of a mixolydian, okay? C mixolydian. Don't worry about that. I'm sure Randy Bachman was not thinking C mixolydian. But here's what we're going to play. We're going to play, so that's 5 on the fourth string, 5-7 on the third string, 5. And then we're going to play another double stop, this time with our third finger on the 7th on the third string, and fourth finger on the 8th fret on the second string. And we're going to bend it up on the third string to give us that little, okay, 2 of those, pulling off from the 7th to the 5th, ending up with the 7th on the fourth string. Okay, now either you can play a double stop on 5-5 and then 7 and 5, or you can just play single notes. It doesn't matter. Now there's a curious little thing that he does before he goes into the next line, and that is he hits 2 open strings a couple times. Now it's totally dissonant, but it works in the context of the song because, again, you're just kind of exploding all over the fretboard, and he's going to move up to here, so he wants a little bit of a spacer, so he played it. Anyway, it sounds cool to me. So 2 open, just open strings on the first 2 beats, or 2 strokes. Okay, here's the rest of this. Okay, very similar to Hot Legs, Rod Stewart, the playing in there. And now we're coming all the way up to the 15th, and what we're going to do is on the second string, bend that 15th up a whole step, and then play the 15th on the first string. Okay, and then we're going to play a few of the double stops by hitting that bent note on the second as well as the first string. And you can give it vibrato if you want. Sounds really cool when you do. Okay, now we're coming down and playing 15-15 and coming off on the second and playing that 13th. One more time. Here's that whole line. Okay, now another Chuck Berry maneuver here, but now think of the F chord. All right, so we're playing on the third, we're playing the 15th, and we're bending that up a whole step and playing the double stop on the first 2 strings on the 13th. 3 of those, and then just kind of go nuts on that same thing on the 15th on the first 2 strings when you come back to that C chord. Now, why that works so well is you're bending up to a little C chord right here. See, if you finish this out on the 15th on the first string, 17th on the second string, 17th on the third, that's a little C chord, right? It's very similar to this one down here. It's just an octave up. So if instead of playing the 17th on the second and the 15th on the first, you're going to bend up to it. So instead of playing this, which sounds good, this sounds even better. Very rock and roll. Sounds a lot like Angus or, whatever. All right, so that's it. That's that solo. Now, I did want to show you improvising on this. It's a lot of fun to improvise, and there's a couple of things that you can do very easily to improvise. The first thing is to do the old Chuck Berry lick, right? Or the first thing is simply to play the C minor pentatonic. That's going to sound good, or the C blues scale. Either one is going to sound really good over this whole progression. So you can do that. The second thing is you can try using the Chuck Berry lick, which I think of as this. In C, it would be this. I play on the 10th on the 3rd, and I play the double stop on 8-8. Notice that this 8 on the first string is a C, so that's how I keep my bearings on it. It goes like this. We've all heard that. Johnny B. Good, it's in that. You know, Led Zeppelin played it up. All that kind of stuff. All right, and you can switch it every time the chord switches. So when you're playing over the C, you can switch to the B flat when you're playing over B flat, and you can switch to F when you're playing over the F. And that sounds really good too. And finally, the Mixolydian, or the C major pentatonic, you can put in there, and that also sounds good. So if this sounds good, this also does. All right, let's see if we can improvise using some of those ideas. Here we go. Okay, so there you go. You can see, maybe not the best there, but you can see that if we mix some of those ideas, it can make a pretty interesting solo. Pretty fun to play over too. Put it on a loop, just play it again and again. All right, gang, well that's it for BTO's Taking Care of Business. Got the riff, got one of the solos, and you got some scope to improvise. Play this one with your buddies, or if you don't have any buddies, play it on a loop. Have at it. All right, hope you enjoyed it. See you on down the road.